two teams in really interesting situations will play tonight on the court. Two rivals in the old conference now meeting up in the SEC. It's Arkansas and Kentucky. Of course, Arkansas coming off a blowout loss to the Florida Gators, and Kentucky coming off a really nice win against Texas A&M. Welcome to Southeast Sports Plus, hour number 2 rolling on here. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined by Gabriella Genereaux and Patrick Walsh driving our show today. This is a really interesting, I think, situation for both teams going into this matchup. Number one is the standalone game in the SEC. So kind of all eyes here on this matchup. And then Coach Cal's team, can they get back off the mat after that blowout loss to Florida?
I think they can. Yeah. I think I do have Arkansas in this one with, just Coach Cal and his experience. And after that blowout game, I don't see him letting them do that again. So I have Arkansas fighting back in this one.
Yeah, I like it too. Patrick, I think one of the big things we've talked about with our friends in Austin over the last few times we've talked is like, with every win, like
you're walking on eggshells.
mute your cheers, like golf clap your cheers, because you just don't know the guys that are going to be on the floor the next time around. Whether it's Pope, whether it's I would say Bocatitis has been probably the most consistent player. But it just feels like you have to, gauge your expectations and not put any game more forward. And Coach Sean Miller has basically said the same thing.
There's like 3 levels to what you're describing, and being confident that your team can rebound the next game and can keep the consistency up. There's Florida at the top. They're the most consistent team ever since the loss to Auburn. There's Texas right in the middle, where it's like, some games they really do show up, but you're kind of walking on eggshells. But I think the team that is so up and down has got to be Missouri. I mean, they just lost last night to Oklahoma after picking up a nice win over the weekend. So they follow up a really nice win with a loss that makes you just scratch your head a little bit.
Right.
But I think another guy that does make me scratch my head a little bit is Cameron Heide. And we had talked with Noah Gross last week about how he almost he said it very kindly, and I don't think he could directly quote Coach Sean Miller, because there were some things in there to Cameron Heide that we probably can't say on here. But he doesn't like him. let's just be honest. He's a little bit disappointed in his play, which leads me to my point where there's an interesting matchup here tonight, because both of these teams are so guard heavy. And the front court is kind of lacking.
Right.
And it's going to be the Nick Pringle versus Heide matchup that might be a little bit interesting to keep an eye on.
Right. This game is at Bud Walton Arena, and we have talked a lot with our friend Courtney Mims, and you'll meet Courtney a little bit later on. And it's this Bud Walton magic that kind of gets talked about. And I know the last game really didn't prove that, but it's like, hey, this arena is worth, how like they say in football, home field advantage is worth like 2 to 3 points or whatever.
Right.
Say that Bud Walton Arena is worth maybe 4, maybe 5 points.
Wow.
And obviously there's no really way to quantify that. It's just the mystique, the atmosphere, the aura. Is it one of those things where you trust Arkansas at home, or do you trust the momentum of Texas after knocking off Texas A&M?
I think I trust Arkansas at home.
Yeah. And to me, the best player on the floor is on Arkansas.
Yeah.
The Darius Aiko.
Right.
Like he will be the best player, period, in this game. I know. I don't know if he's hobbled. I don't know. Like they've kept his whole injury thing kind of a secret for the last 3 weeks or so. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I just talked about the forwards kind of lacking for both teams.
Yeah.
But the guards have just been so good for both. I mean, we've been talking about Dalen Swain. He's honestly playing his way into being a draft pick. And I know we talk a lot about how most of the draft picks are usually freshmen and sophomores, just because these NBA squads like to get those guys that are 19, 20 years old and be able to mold them into the player that they want to be. I think Dalen Swain's 22 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely on the older side for someone that is playing into a draft pick potential right now. But, I mean, we talked about it last game. Tremont Mark was the one that really stepped up. It really wasn't Dalen Swain.
Right.
And Darius Acuff has been a little bit shaky ever since that Alabama game, which I still cannot believe. I still cannot believe that he was in a boot for the hours leading up to that game.
He scores 49.
It's just crazy.
He scores 49 in double overtime and plays every second.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it lets you also, it makes you wonder how much wear and tear there might be on that leg. He's obviously a freshman. You don't, in high school, you play, in the state of Alabama, you play about 30 games. If you make it to the state championship, you'll play roughly 35, 40 at the very most. So I wonder if this longer season for him, if that's going to exacerbate that foot injury going forward. If there is one to be exasperated, it might be a situation where it's just something that's tweaking him and that he can heal up and feel 100% by the time the game goes.
Right. And I mean, I would feel pretty confident about him bouncing back tonight. That's not really the matchup that I want to say. Acuff is probably going to be – I don't think he's going to be on Dalen Swain tonight. I think he'll probably be on Jordan Pope.
Right.
Just because when you take a look at this team throughout the season, Jordan Pope has been so up and down. And I mean, Dalen Swain is so offensive focused.
Right.
The matchup that I'm really looking forward to.
Billy Goat
on Dalen Swain.
Yeah.
Billy!
Of course, I think over the last few games we've seen that Coach Calipari really likes to put Billy Richmond on the other team's best player and finding out what that works for his team. Flipping over now to Arkansas. I mean, they played the best team in the SEC in Florida. And it wasn't even close.
Right.
Do you worry at this stage a loss like that, what it does for their morale?
Honestly, no, because I think when you look at Florida, they're only getting better.
Yeah.
And I think, you can recognize this is what they've had 3 games where they score over 100 this season. And it's, they're clearly the best team in the SEC right now. So,
right.
I mean, obviously nobody wants to have a blowout loss. But I think mentally, especially with Coach Cal and just his mindset of next game, I think they can move on from this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that Coach Cal does have a unique perspective on how to coach his guys. I mean, about a month ago, he was saying that we got to go back to playing 8th grade basketball. I'm going to pass it to you like this and pass it to you like this. And, of course, it sounds elementary. It almost might sound like he's insulting his players. But I think he does know the right buttons to push, and I think this is a situation where it could be that same thing. Heard from a couple of the Arkansas players. One of them is Trevon Brazil. Hear about Texas and then playing on senior night.
Obviously it's emotional last game. But, we just trying to get a win, especially after, a loss at Florida. So, the main focus would just be trying to get the win. I would say there's really no emotions about it. Obviously, the team are – we have a good relationship. So, I'll say what's up to him before and after the game. But, besides that, it's just basketball. We're just out there trying to get a win.
So we'll have Courtney Mims on tomorrow, kind of break down the elements of this game and the matchups of this game. You talked about Billy Goat. You want to see him on Dalen Swain. I do want to see this coaching matchup because these are 2 high-profile, high-caliber coaches. You got John Calipari. You got Sean Miller in this game. If this were to come down to coaching, I know the players execute on the floor. If this were to come down to coaching, who do you like more?
That's a tough one because a lot has been made about Coach Calipari after the month of February.
Yeah.
And it seems like for some reason, some of his teams just don't get it. And you and I don't want to beat a dead horse by any means, but what has plagued Coach Cal, coach teams in the past in March? 3-point defense.
Yeah.
And Texas can light it up at times. And, I mean, you just take a look a few years ago, Jack Golke on Oakland lit up, I want to say 10 3-pointers, and 8 of them were in the first half against Kentucky.
Right.
And then they were 1 and done. And it's just but Sean Miller at the same time gives us some great sound bites.
He does, always.
Some absolutely legendary sound bites.
Yeah.
We are going to do a best of at the end of this season and just best of sound bites and just give our reactions and everything.
After one shining moment, there's going to be just an array of sound. An array
we're going to have a 30-minute special after Monday night.
Right.
I'm calling this right now. We're going to do a 30-minute special of just sound bites from the season to make you reminisce on the greatest season potentially of all time. I mean, with the draft prospects this year, I don't think we've seen a more loaded class. Genuinely.
Right. Yes. As far as
moving on to the next level and stuff.
Yeah. And the SEC tournament should be a lot of fun because of that. We'll have a lot of guys that maybe are lottery picks. You have obviously Darius Acuff, obviously Nate Ament, LeBaron Feinlon. There'll be a lot of players that are playing in the SEC tournament that we will see moving forward. But you talked about the montage of sound bites. These are going to be let's just say that montage is 10 minutes long.
Oh, yes.
They're taking 9.5 minutes.
These 2 coaches will be taking the majority of the time. It'll be the Sean Miller and John Calipari show, especially after
and then the last 30 seconds will be Vic Schaefer.
Yeah. And if you would extend it outside of the SEC, you got some Mick Cronin in there as
Cronin,
well.
yeah.
Just an array.
Did you raise your voice at me?
Yeah. Did you raise your voice? Did you see that?
Did you see that?
You see that soundbite? We're gonna show it to you.
Yeah.
It's out of UCLA, and it's just
To a reporter? Did you raise your voice?
Yeah. He got upset
Because the reporter asked him a legit question. How
Wait,
was
I do think I know
the
what
student
you're
section?
talking
He asked him about the
Yes,
zone.
it was a student reporter, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yes.
don't.
Was it the student reporter?
Because it was off
camera.
It was off camera, so I didn't see
Yeah.
who it was.
But it
yeah.
was like,
it's
I'm pretty sure I saw that, and it was a student reporter.
Oh,
I felt
Mick,
so
what are we
sorry
doing?
for him.
That's even worse.
Yes.
That is even worse. Oh my gosh. No. So yeah, Mick Cronin, Sean Miller, John Calipari, Vic Schaefer will be the stars
and
of
maybe
that.
sprinkle in some NATOs there.
Oh yeah, definitely some NATOs.
NATOs after a loss.
After a loss for sure, and then you have to kind of muster up what he's saying through his voice.